Hello, beautiful soul. I want you to take a moment right now to just breathe with me. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. You found your way here today, and that tells me something wonderful about you. It tells me that deep in your heart, you know there's something more available to you than what you're currently experiencing. You know there's a way to live that feels easier, more supported, more abundant in every sense of the word. I understand if part of you feels tired, tired of struggling, tired of wondering when things will get better, tired of feeling like you're swimming upstream while everyone else seems to glide effortlessly through life. There's been so much heaviness, hasn't there? Bills that seem to multiply when you're not looking, opportunities that slip through your fingers, dreams that feel further away than they did when you were younger. I see you. I understand that weight you've been carrying. You might be sitting there right now wondering if you're foolish to hope that things could be different. Part of you might be thinking that trusting the universe sounds lovely in theory, but what about your real life? What about the practical matters that keep you awake at night? What about the fear that whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not the type of person who gets to have ease and abundance? I understand those voices because I've heard them too. We all have. But I want you to know something right now, and I want you to really let this sink into your heart. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing some secret ingredient that everyone else has. You are a beloved child of the universe, and the same force that grows flowers from tiny seeds and turns caterpillars into butterflies is working in your life right now, whether you can see it or not. The truth is, you wouldn't be here listening to these words if you weren't ready for something to shift. Your soul knows something your mind might not be ready to accept yet. Your soul knows that you are meant to live with ease, to feel supported, to experience abundance in all its forms. And abundance isn't just about money, though that's often where our fears feel the strongest. Abundance is about feeling held by life itself. It's about knowing that you belong here, that your needs matter, that you are worth caring for. I want you to feel how brave you are for being here today. It takes courage to hope when you've been disappointed. It takes strength to consider that maybe, just maybe, there's a different way to live. You might feel vulnerable right now, opening your heart to the possibility that things could change. That vulnerability is sacred. It's your soul saying yes to growth, yes to healing, yes to stepping into a larger version of yourself. Today, we're going to explore what it means to truly trust the universe to provide for you. Not in a magical thinking way, but in a deep, practical, life-changing way. We're going to look at why trusting might feel so scary and how you can begin to build that trust muscle gently, one small step at a time. We're going to talk about how the universe has actually been providing for you all along, even when it didn't feel like it. And we're going to discover together how you can align yourself with that natural flow of abundance that is your birthright. You don't need to figure it all out today. You don't need to transform your entire relationship with money or security overnight. All you need to do is be willing to consider that there might be another way. That willingness is enough. That willingness is everything. It's the crack in the door that allows light to enter. It's the tiny seed from which mighty trees grow. So let's take this journey together. Let me walk beside you as you explore what it might feel like to live with deep trust instead of constant worry. Let me share with you what I've learned about how the universe works and how you can work with it instead of against it. You are so much more supported than you know. You are so much more loved than you've been told. And you are so much more capable of receiving all that life wants to give you than you've allowed yourself to believe. Your heart brought you here today for a reason. Trust that reason. Trust yourself. And let's begin. When we talk about trusting the universe to provide, we're talking about something that goes far beyond positive thinking or wishful hoping. We're talking about aligning ourselves with the fundamental laws of life itself. Look around you right now. Look at how everything in nature receives exactly what it needs to thrive. The trees don't worry about whether spring will come. The birds don't hoard food for the next decade. The flowers don't question whether they deserve sunlight and rain. There's an intelligence at work in life that is far greater than our individual minds can comprehend. This intelligence orchestrates the movement of planets, the changing of seasons, the beating of your heart, and the healing of cuts on your skin. It manages the circulation of your blood, the digestion of your food, and the renewal of every cell in your body without you having to think about it or figure it out. This same intelligence is available to support every aspect of your life, including your material needs and desires. But somewhere along the way, we were taught to believe that we're separate from this intelligence. We were taught that we have to figure everything out ourselves, control every outcome, and force our way through life. We were taught that if we don't push and struggle and worry, nothing good will happen to us. We learned to believe that the universe is a hostile place where resources are scarce and only the strongest or luckiest survive. This teaching has created so much unnecessary suffering. It has us living in a constant state of fight or flight, always preparing for the next disaster, always trying to accumulate enough to feel safe. But true safety doesn't come from accumulation. True safety comes from knowing that you are connected to the source of all abundance, and that this source is always flowing toward you, always seeking to support your highest good. The universe is not neutral. It is not indifferent to your well-being. It is actually biased toward your success, your happiness, your growth, and your fulfillment. This might sound too good to be true, especially if you've been struggling for a long time. But consider this: every breath you take is a gift. Every sunrise is a present you didn't have to earn. Every season brings exactly what nature needs to thrive. The universe has been providing for life on this planet for millions of years without fail. The provision isn't just about material things, though those are included. The universe provides opportunities, connections, ideas, inspiration, strength when you need it most, and healing when you're ready to receive it. It provides the perfect people at the perfect time, the right book when you need to hear its message, the chance encounter that changes everything. It provides growth through challenges and wisdom through experience. Sometimes the provision looks different than what our minds think we need. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a setup for something better. Sometimes what appears to be a closed door is protection from a path that wasn't truly meant for us. The universe sees the bigger picture that our limited perspective cannot see. It knows the timing, the circumstances, and the conditions that will serve our highest good. Learning to trust universal provision means learning to relax our need to control how things unfold. It means becoming curious instead of demanding. It means asking, "What is this here to teach me?" instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" It means staying open to receiving in ways we never expected, from sources we never anticipated. The trees don't question whether they deserve nutrients from the soil. The ocean doesn't wonder if it's worthy of rain. The sun doesn't worry about whether it has enough light to give. They simply receive and give according to their nature. You too have a nature that is designed to receive and give, to be nourished and to nourish others. You too are part of this vast web of intelligence that ensures everything gets what it needs to fulfill its purpose. Your purpose isn't separate from your provision. What you're called to do, to be, to create, to share with the world is connected to what you need to live and thrive. The universe doesn't give you dreams without also providing the means to fulfill them. It doesn't plant desires in your heart without also creating pathways for those desires to manifest. The yearning you feel for a better life, for meaningful work, for financial freedom, for creative expression, for loving relationships, these yearnings are the universe calling you toward your destiny, and your destiny includes all the support you need to get there. This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you learn to work with the flow instead of against it. It means you take inspired action rather than desperate action. It means you learn to recognize the signs, synchronicities, and opportunities that are constantly being offered to you. It means you develop the wisdom to know when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to listen, when to hold on and when to let go. But perhaps the biggest shift in understanding universal provision is realizing that you don't have to earn it. You don't have to be perfect enough, spiritual enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to receive the universe's support. You are already worthy simply because you exist. You are already loved simply because you are here. You are already deserving of all good things simply because you are a unique expression of the creative force of life itself. The universe isn't waiting for you to prove yourself. It's waiting for you to open yourself. It's waiting for you to create space in your heart and mind and life for good things to enter. It's waiting for you to stop pushing so hard and start receiving more freely. It's waiting for you to trust that you are held, that you are guided, and that everything you need is already on its way to you. Now, if trusting the universe feels natural and easy to you, you might wonder why it can be so difficult for many of us. The truth is, most of us have been carrying beliefs and experiences that make trust feel dangerous. We've learned to protect ourselves in ways that also block our ability to receive. We've developed patterns of thinking and being that made sense given what we went through, but now these same patterns are keeping us separate from the abundance that wants to flow to us. Many of us learned early that the world isn't safe. Perhaps there wasn't enough money in your family growing up, and you absorbed the fear and stress that surrounded financial conversations. Perhaps you watched the adults in your life struggle and sacrifice, working hard for little reward. Perhaps you were told that money doesn't grow on trees, that you have to fight for everything you get, that life is hard, and then you die. These messages, even when delivered with love, created beliefs in your subconscious mind about scarcity, struggle, and unworthiness. Perhaps you experienced loss or disappointment that taught you not to hope too much. Perhaps you trusted before and were let down, and your heart decided it was safer to expect the worst than to risk being hurt again. Perhaps you've tried so hard for so long that you're exhausted from hoping, tired of being disappointed, and resigned to just getting by instead of truly thriving. Or perhaps you grew up in a family where money was seen as the root of all evil, where having desires was considered selfish, where spiritual people were supposed to sacrifice material comfort for moral purity. Perhaps you learned that it's noble to struggle, that suffering builds character, that wanting more is greedy or ungrateful. These beliefs can make abundance feel forbidden, like something you shouldn't want or don't deserve to have. Sometimes our blocks come from guilt. We see so much suffering in the world and wonder how we can want abundance when others have so little. We carry the pain of the world in our hearts and feel selfish for focusing on our own needs and desires. We think we need to fix everyone else's problems before we can tend to our own well-being. But here's something important to understand. You becoming abundant doesn't take anything away from anyone else. In fact, the more you thrive, the more you can contribute to others thriving too. Fear is perhaps the biggest block of all. Fear that if we trust, we'll be disappointed. Fear that if we let our guard down, something terrible will happen. Fear that we're not smart enough to navigate life successfully. Fear that we'll make the wrong choices and end up worse off than we are now. Fear keeps us in survival mode, always scanning for threats, always preparing for the worst, always trying to control outcomes that are beyond our control. These fears often live in our bodies as tension, anxiety, and a sense of constant vigilance. We might find ourselves checking our bank account obsessively, researching every possible negative outcome before making decisions, or lying awake at night running through worst-case scenarios. Our nervous system stays activated, ready to fight or flee from dangers that mostly exist in our imagination. Sometimes our blocks show up as unworthiness. We might think we're not good enough, smart enough, talented enough, or spiritual enough to receive abundance. We might believe that other people deserve good things, but we don't. We might have been told we were too much or not enough, and those messages still echo in our minds today. We might struggle with receiving compliments, gifts, or help from others because we don't feel worthy of kindness and support. Perfectionism can also be a block. We might think we need to have it all figured out before we deserve abundance. We might believe we need to heal all our issues, clear all our blocks, and become completely enlightened before we can trust the universe to provide for us. But healing happens through receiving, not before it. Growth happens through trusting, not as a prerequisite for trust. These blocks aren't character flaws or personal failures. They're adaptive responses to experiences that taught us to protect ourselves. Your anxiety made sense when you were young and vulnerable. Your need to control made sense when you felt powerless. Your fear of trusting made sense if trust wasn't safe in your early environment. But what once protected you might now be limiting you. The beautiful thing about these blocks is that they can be healed. The patterns that were learned can be unlearned. The beliefs that were formed can be reformed. The walls that were built for protection can be transformed into bridges that connect you to abundance. You don't have to carry these burdens forever. You don't have to stay stuck in old patterns that no longer serve you. Recognizing these blocks is the first step to healing them. When you can see how your past shaped your present beliefs about money, security, and trust, you can begin to choose new beliefs that serve your highest good. When you can feel how fear lives in your body, you can learn to soothe and calm your nervous system. When you can understand how your protective mechanisms work, you can appreciate them for keeping you safe, while also gently teaching them that it's safe to relax now. This process takes time and patience with yourself. These blocks didn't form overnight, and they won't disappear overnight either. But every moment of awareness is a step toward freedom. Every time you choose love over fear, trust over control, abundance over scarcity, you're rewiring your brain and reshaping your reality. You're teaching your nervous system that it's safe to receive, safe to trust, safe to let life support you in ways you never thought possible. Now that we've recognized how these old patterns of fear and scarcity have been running our lives, we can begin the beautiful journey of shifting from fear to faith. This shift isn't about forcing yourself to feel different overnight. It's not about pretending you're not scared when you are. It's about gently, lovingly, patiently learning to dance with fear instead of being paralyzed by it. It's about understanding that fear is often just love in disguise, trying to keep you safe in the only way it knows how. When fear shows up in your life, instead of pushing it away or judging yourself for feeling it, you can learn to get curious about what it's trying to tell you. Fear often carries information. Sometimes it's warning you about something that genuinely needs your attention. But more often, especially when it comes to trusting abundance, Fear is just an old alarm system that's been set off by something that reminds your nervous system of past danger, even when there's no real threat in the present moment. Learning to distinguish between helpful fear and habitual fear is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Helpful fear might warn you not to invest your life savings in something that seems too good to be true. Habitual fear might tell you that you can't quit a job you hate because you'll never find anything better. Helpful fear might encourage you to research before making big decisions. Habitual fear might keep you researching forever, always finding new reasons why nothing is safe enough to try. The beautiful thing about fear is that when you stop running from it and start breathing with it, it often transforms naturally into excitement. Fear and excitement create almost identical sensations in your body: increased heart rate, butterflies in your stomach, heightened awareness. The main difference is the story you tell yourself about what these sensations mean. When you label them as fear, they feel threatening. When you label them as excitement, they feel invigorating. Faith, on the other hand, feels different in your body than fear does. Faith feels like a gentle exhale. It feels like your shoulders dropping away from your ears. It feels like a softening in your belly and a warmth in your chest. Faith doesn't require you to know how things will work out. It just requires you to trust that they will work out somehow, in some way that serves your highest good. Building faith is like strengthening a muscle that's been weak from underuse. You start small. You start with tiny acts of trust that feel manageable to your nervous system. Maybe you trust that your body knows how to heal a small cut without your help. Maybe you trust that the sun will rise tomorrow morning. Maybe you trust that your heart will keep beating while you sleep. These might seem silly, but they're building blocks. They're teaching your system what trust feels like in small, safe doses. As you practice these small acts of trust, you can gradually work up to bigger ones. Maybe you trust that the right parking space will appear when you need it. Maybe you trust that the perfect book will find its way to you when you need guidance. Maybe you trust that you'll have what you need to handle whatever challenges come your way. Each small success builds your confidence for the next level of trust. The shift from fear to faith isn't about never feeling scared again. It's about changing your relationship with fear. Instead of fear being the driver of your decisions, it becomes just one voice in the conversation. Instead of fear having veto power over your dreams, it becomes a counselor that you listen to but don't necessarily follow. Instead of fear keeping you small and stuck, it becomes information that you can consider while still moving forward toward what calls to your heart. This shift often happens in waves. You might feel strong and trusting one day, then wake up the next morning with all your old fears chattering in your mind again. This is normal. Healing isn't linear. Growth isn't consistent. Some days you'll feel like you're making progress, and other days you'll wonder if you've learned anything at all. Both experiences are part of the journey. Both are necessary for your growth. The key is to be patient and gentle with yourself through this process. Your fear-based patterns developed over years or even decades. They won't disappear just because you've decided you want to trust more. They need time to unwind. They need consistent, loving attention. They need you to prove to them over and over again that it's safe to relax, safe to hope, safe to believe that good things are possible for you. Sometimes this shift happens through crisis. Sometimes life puts us in situations where we have no choice but to let go of control and trust that we'll be okay. Job loss, relationship endings, health challenges, financial difficulties, these experiences can crack us open and force us to discover resources we didn't know we had. They can teach us that we're stronger and more supported than we ever imagined. But you don't have to wait for crisis to begin shifting from fear to faith. You can choose to start today in small ways, in gentle ways, in ways that honor both your desire to trust and your need to feel safe. You can begin to notice when fear is driving your decisions and gently ask yourself, what would love do in this situation? What would faith choose here? As you practice this shift, you'll start to notice that faith feels much better in your body than fear does. Faith is expansive while fear is contractive. Faith opens possibilities while fear closes them down. Faith connects you to your creative power while fear disconnects you from it. Faith allows you to receive while fear keeps you in constant giving and doing and efforting. The most beautiful part of this shift is that it creates space for miracles to occur. When you're operating from fear, you're so focused on problems that you miss solutions. When you're operating from faith, you become available to see opportunities, connections, and possibilities that were always there but invisible to your fear-focused mind. You become a magnet for the very things you've been longing for. Once you begin to shift from fear to faith, you start to notice that the universe has its own language, its own way of communicating with you and guiding you toward what serves your highest good. This language isn't spoken in words, but in signs, synchronicities, opportunities, and what some people call coincidences, but what you'll begin to recognize as the universe orchestrating events in your favor. These communications come in many forms. Sometimes they come as sudden ideas that pop into your mind seemingly from nowhere. Sometimes they come as opportunities that present themselves at exactly the right moment. Sometimes they come through other people who say just what you need to hear or offer exactly what you need. Sometimes they come through books, songs, conversations overheard in coffee shops, or even license plates and billboards that seem to speak directly to your situation. The universe also communicates through timing. You might notice that certain things keep being delayed, and then suddenly everything falls into place at once in a way that's so much better than what you originally planned. You might find that doors keep closing until the right door opens, and then you understand why all the other doors had to close first. You might discover that what felt like setbacks were actually setups for something more aligned with your true path. Learning to recognize these communications requires developing a different kind of awareness. It's like tuning into a radio station that's been playing all along, but you just learned how to adjust the frequency to hear it clearly. At first, you might wonder if you're imagining things or reading meaning into random events, but as you practice paying attention, the pattern becomes unmistakable. The guidance becomes clearer. The support becomes obvious. Sometimes the universe provides through opening doors that you didn't even know existed. A conversation with a stranger leads to a job opportunity. A wrong turn takes you past a for rent sign for the perfect apartment. A canceled appointment creates time for an unexpected phone call that changes everything. A delayed flight puts you next to someone who becomes a lifelong friend or business partner. Sometimes the universe provides by closing doors that aren't meant for you, even when you really wanted them to open. The job you didn't get leads to a better job a month later. The relationship that ended makes space for true love to enter. The house you lost in a bidding war saves you from discovering major problems that would have cost you much more. What feels like rejection is often protection. The universe also provides through your intuition, that inner knowing that guides you toward what's right for you and away from what isn't. Your intuition might tell you to take a different route to work, and later you discover there was a major accident on your usual route. Your intuition might nudge you to call someone, and they tell you about an opportunity that's perfect for you. Your intuition might warn you away from a deal that looks good on paper but feels wrong in your gut. Sometimes the provision comes through what appears to be problems or challenges. A health issue forces you to slow down and prioritize what really matters. A financial crisis motivates you to develop new skills and discover talents you didn't know you had. A difficult relationship teaches you about boundaries and self-worth. The universe sometimes provides growth through experiences that stretch us beyond our comfort zones. Learning to receive what the universe offers requires staying open and flexible about how your good comes to you. Maybe you're praying for more money, and instead you receive an opportunity to reduce your expenses. Maybe you're asking for a romantic partner, and instead you receive an invitation to heal old wounds that were preventing love from entering your life. Maybe you're hoping for a specific job, and instead you're guided towards starting your own business. The key is to stay curious rather than attached to specific outcomes. When you demand that your good come in a particular form, at a particular time, through particular people, you might miss the gifts that are being offered in different packages. When you stay open to receiving in unexpected ways, you allow the universe to surprise you with solutions that are better than anything you could have planned. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have preferences or make specific requests. It means holding your preferences lightly while staying open to possibilities you haven't considered. It means asking for what you want while also saying this or something better for my highest good. It means being willing to be amazed by how creative the universe can be in providing for you. The more you practice recognizing and receiving the universe's communications and provisions, the more natural it becomes. You develop a felt sense of when something is aligned for you and when it isn't. You learn to trust the nudges, follow the breadcrumbs, and say yes to opportunities that excite you even when they don't make logical sense. You become comfortable with not knowing exactly how things will work out while trusting that they will work out. Now that you understand how the universe communicates and provides, the next step is learning how to strengthen your ability to trust these communications and receive these provisions. Building your trust muscle is like training for any other skill. It requires practice, patience, and consistency. But unlike other forms of training that might feel difficult or demanding, building trust can actually feel nourishing and supportive when you approach it with gentleness and self-compassion. One of the most powerful ways to build trust is through developing a daily practice of gratitude. Gratitude isn't just a nice idea or a spiritual concept. It's a practical tool that literally rewires your brain to notice abundance instead of scarcity. When you consistently focus on what's working in your life, what you're grateful for, and what's going well, you train your mind to look for evidence of support and provision rather than evidence of lack and threat. Start each morning by acknowledging 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for hot coffee, a comfortable bed, or the fact that your car started this morning. Maybe you're grateful for a friend who makes you laugh, a pet who loves you unconditionally, or a body that carries you through each day. The practice of gratitude teaches your nervous system that you are already supported, already blessed, already rich in ways that matter. But gratitude becomes even more powerful when you expand it to include appreciation for challenges and difficulties. This doesn't mean being grateful that bad things happen, but rather finding something to appreciate about your own strength, growth, or resilience in handling whatever comes your way. When you can find genuine appreciation for how you navigated a difficult situation, how you learned from a mistake, or how you grew through a challenging experience, you're building trust in your ability to handle whatever life brings. Another way to build your trust muscle is through small daily acts of faith. Instead of trying to make huge leaps into trusting the universe with your biggest fears and desires, start with smaller experiments that feel manageable to your nervous system. Maybe you trust that a parking space will open up where you need it. Maybe you trust that you'll find exactly what you need at the grocery store, even if you forgot your list. Maybe you trust that the right words will come when you need to have a difficult conversation. These small acts of faith create evidence for your mind that trusting works. Each time you take a small risk and things work out, you're building confidence for slightly bigger risks. Each time you let go of control in a small way and discover that you're still safe, you're teaching your nervous system that trust is safe. Each time you follow your intuition in a low-stakes situation and it leads you well, you're strengthening your ability to hear and follow inner guidance. Meditation and quiet time are also essential for building trust. When your mind is constantly busy and your life is always full of activity, it's hard to hear the subtle communications from the universe or feel the gentle nudges of your intuition. Regular periods of stillness create space for your inner wisdom to emerge and for your nervous system to remember what peace feels like. Even 5 or 10 minutes of quiet breathing each day can make a significant difference in your ability to trust and receive. During these quiet times, you might ask questions and then listen for the answers. You might ask, "What do I need to know today?" Or, "How can I best serve my highest good?" Or, "What wants my attention right now?" Then you simply listen without forcing answers to come. Sometimes insights arise immediately. Sometimes they come later through other channels. The practice is in asking and then staying open to receiving guidance in whatever form it takes. Spending time in nature is another powerful way to build trust. Nature operates according to principles of perfect timing, natural cycles, and effortless abundance. Trees don't worry about when spring will come. Flowers don't question whether they deserve sunlight. Rivers don't stress about finding their way to the ocean. When you spend time observing natural processes, you can absorb this wisdom into your own being and remember that you too are part of this natural flow. Walking in nature, sitting by water, or simply spending time under the sky can help you remember that you belong to something much larger than your individual concerns. It can help you feel held by forces beyond your personal will and supported by an intelligence that has been managing the affairs of the natural world for millions of years. This felt sense of belonging and support makes it easier to trust that the same forces taking care of all life are also taking care of you. Journaling is another valuable practice for building trust. When you write about your experiences, your feelings, and your observations, you often discover insights that weren't available to your thinking mind. You might notice patterns you hadn't seen before. You might find yourself writing solutions to problems you've been struggling with. You might discover that you actually know more about what you need than you thought you did. Try writing questions to the universe and then letting your hand write whatever wants to come through without censoring or editing. You might be surprised by the wisdom that flows onto the page. You might find yourself writing advice that you didn't know you had access to. This practice can help you recognize that guidance and support are available to you all the time. You just need to create space to receive them. Building trust also means learning to celebrate small wins and acknowledge evidence of support when it appears. Often we're so focused on what's not working that we miss the evidence of what is working. When something goes smoothly, when an opportunity appears, when you receive unexpected help, take a moment to really acknowledge it. Let yourself feel grateful. Let yourself appreciate how you were supported. This acknowledgement strengthens your ability to recognize and receive support in the future. As you strengthen your trust muscle through these daily practices, you'll discover that certain words and phrases have the power to shift your energy and open you to receive more of what you desire. Affirmations aren't just positive thinking or wishful hoping. They're powerful tools for reprogramming the subconscious beliefs that have been running your life automatically. When you repeat affirmations with feeling and intention, You're literally creating new neural pathways in your brain that support abundance instead of scarcity. The key to working with affirmations effectively is choosing statements that feel believable to you right now, even if they're a stretch from where you currently are. If you've been struggling financially and you try to affirm, "I am a millionaire," your subconscious mind will likely reject that statement as false, creating resistance instead of openness. But if you affirm, "I am learning to trust that the universe supports me," or "I am open to receiving abundance in unexpected ways," your mind can accept these as possibilities. Start with affirmations that feel good in your body when you say them. "I am worthy of love and support." Feel how that lands in your chest. "The universe is always providing for me in perfect timing." Notice if there's a softening in your belly when you speak these words. "I trust that everything I need is already on its way to me." Let yourself feel the relief that can come with releasing the need to figure everything out yourself. Some of the most powerful affirmations for building trust are those that acknowledge your connection to the source of all abundance. "I am one with the creative force of the universe." The same intelligence that grows flowers from seeds is working in my life. "I am supported by forces I can see and forces I cannot see." These statements help you remember that you're not alone in creating your life. You're co-creating with the universe itself. When working with affirmations about money and material abundance, it's important to focus on the feeling you want money to give you rather than just the money itself. Money is energy, and it flows more easily to those who aren't grasping at it desperately. Try affirmations like, "I feel safe and secure in my life." "I have everything I need to thrive." "Abundance flows to me easily and joyfully." "I am grateful for the prosperity that surrounds me already." Affirmations about worthiness are especially powerful because unworthiness is often at the root of our inability to receive. "I deserve all good things." "I am worthy of abundance simply because I exist." "I release the need to earn love and support." "I accept that I am valuable beyond measure." These statements can help heal old wounds that tell you you're not enough or that you have to prove your worth through suffering or sacrifice. The timing of when you practice affirmations can make a significant difference in their effectiveness. The moments right after you wake up and right before you fall asleep are when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming. During these times, your analytical mind is less active and your deeper mind is more open to accepting new beliefs. Spend a few minutes each morning and evening repeating affirmations that support your vision of an abundant, trusting life. You can also use affirmations in moments when fear or doubt arise. When you catch yourself worrying about money, gently redirect your mind to an affirmation like, "I trust that my needs are always met." When you feel anxious about the future, remind yourself that the universe has perfect timing for everything in my life. When you start to feel overwhelmed by responsibilities, affirm that I am divinely guided and supported in all that I do. Write your favorite affirmations on sticky notes and place them where you'll see them throughout the day. On your bathroom mirror, your computer screen, your car dashboard. Let these visual reminders help you remember to choose thoughts that support your highest good rather than thoughts that reinforce old patterns of lack and fear. Each time you see an affirmation and repeat it to yourself, you're strengthening the new neural pathways that support abundance and trust. Some people find it helpful to create their own personal affirmations based on their specific situations and desires. Listen to the negative thoughts that come up most frequently for you, and then create positive statements that directly counter those thoughts. If you often think, "I never have enough money," you might create the affirmation, Money flows to me in increasing amounts from expected and unexpected sources. If you frequently worry, I can't handle this, you might affirm, I have all the strength and wisdom I need for whatever comes my way. Remember that affirmations work best when they're infused with genuine feeling. Simply repeating words without emotion is like planting seeds without water. They won't take root and grow. As you speak your affirmations, let yourself feel into the truth of what you're saying. Imagine what it would feel like if these statements were already completely true in your life. Let yourself experience the peace, joy, excitement, or relief that would come with living these truths fully. While affirmations are powerful tools for reshaping your beliefs and opening to abundance, there's another essential skill for living in trust with the universe: the art of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or becoming passive about your life. It means releasing your attachment to exactly how and when those dreams manifest, and trusting that the universe has a plan that's even better than what you can imagine from your limited perspective. Most of us have been taught to believe that if we want something, we need to focus on it intensely, plan every detail, and then push relentlessly until we make it happen. While clarity about what you want and taking inspired action are important, the energy of grasping and forcing actually pushes abundance away. When you're attached to specific outcomes, you create resistance. When you're desperate for things to change, you emit a vibration of lack that attracts more lack. When you try to control every detail of how your good comes to you close off the pathways that the universe might use to deliver something even better. Letting go is about holding your desires lightly. It's about being clear about what you want while remaining open about how it comes to you. It's about making requests of the universe and then stepping back to allow space for those requests to be fulfilled in ways that serve your highest good. It's about trusting that what's meant for you will come to you, and what's not meant for you is being withheld for good reasons that you might not understand yet. This doesn't mean you stop taking action toward your goals. It means you learn to distinguish between inspired action and desperate action. Inspired action feels energizing, exciting, and aligned. It flows naturally from your intuition and feels like the next obvious step. Desperate action feels forced, exhausting, and fearful. It comes from a place of, I have to make this happen or else, rather than, I'm excited to see how this unfolds. Learning to let go often means releasing your timeline for how quickly things should happen. The universe operates on perfect timing, which is rarely the same as our preferred timing. What we want right now might not be what serves us best right now. We might need to develop certain skills, heal certain patterns, or meet certain people before we're ready to receive what we've asked for. The delays that frustrate us might actually be protection, ensuring that we receive our good when we're truly prepared to handle it well. Letting go also means releasing your attachment to who or what should provide for you. Maybe you're convinced that a specific person should hire you, or a particular opportunity should work out, or a certain investment should pay off. But the universe has access to resources and possibilities that your mind can't even conceive of. When you insist that your good must come through specific channels, you might miss the abundant flow that's trying to reach you through completely different channels. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go is releasing the need to know how things will work out before you take the next step. Our minds want guarantees, but life rarely provides them. Trust often requires moving forward before you can see the whole staircase, taking one step at a time based on what feels right in this moment. This can feel terrifying to a mind that's been trained to need certainty and control. But here's what's beautiful about letting go. It creates space for miracles. When you stop trying to orchestrate every detail of your life, You become available to solutions, opportunities, and support that you never could have planned or arranged yourself. When you release your grip on how things should happen, you allow the universe to surprise you with how creative and generous it can be in providing for you. Letting go is also about forgiving yourself and others for perceived failures and disappointments. Holding on to resentment, regret, or blame keeps you energetically tied to the past in ways that block abundance from flowing to you in the present. When you can release others from the responsibility of providing for your happiness and security, you open space for the universe to provide for you in ways that don't depend on anyone else's choices or actions. Practice letting go in small ways throughout your day. Let go of needing the traffic to move faster. Let go of needing other people to behave the way you think they should. Let go of needing every conversation to go perfectly. Let go of needing to control outcomes that are beyond your influence. Each small practice of letting go strengthens your ability to release bigger attachments and trust more deeply. As you develop your ability to trust through affirmations and letting go, the next step is integrating these practices into your daily life in sustainable, nourishing ways. Living in daily trust isn't about achieving some perfect state where you never feel worried or uncertain. It's about developing habits and practices that consistently bring you back to center, back to faith, back to remembering that you are supported and guided even when life feels chaotic or challenging. Creating a morning routine that centers you in trust can set the tone for your entire day. This doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. Even 5 or 10 minutes of intentional practice can shift your energy and open you to receive guidance and support throughout the day. You might start with a few deep breaths and a moment of gratitude. You might repeat your favorite affirmations while you're getting dressed or drinking your coffee. You might spend a few minutes in quiet meditation, simply breathing and feeling your connection to something larger than yourself. During your morning time, you can also set an intention for how you want to move through the day. Instead of focusing on your to-do list or worrying about potential problems, you might set an intention like, "I am open to receiving support and guidance today," or "I trust that everything I need will be provided," or "I move through this day with ease and grace." This intention becomes a touchstone you can return to whenever you notice yourself getting caught up in stress or fear. Throughout the day, practice noticing when you're operating from trust versus when you're operating from fear. Fear-based thinking sounds like, "What if this doesn't work out? I have to figure this out myself. There's not enough time or money opportunity, or I can't handle this." Trust-based thinking sounds like, "I wonder how this will unfold. I'm curious what wants to emerge here. I trust that I'll know what to do when I need to know," or "something good is trying to happen here." When you catch yourself in fear-based thinking, you don't need to judge yourself or force yourself to think differently. Simply notice what's happening with compassion and gently redirect your attention to something that feels more supportive. Take a few deep breaths. Remember a time when things worked out better than you expected. Repeat an affirmation that helps you feel more centered. Ask yourself what someone who trusted completely would do in this situation. Create regular check-ins with yourself throughout the day to assess how you're feeling and what you need. Maybe you set an alarm on your phone to go off every few hours, reminding you to pause and breathe. Maybe you use transitions between activities as opportunities to reset your energy. Maybe you practice gratitude while you're washing dishes or folding laundry. These small moments of conscious attention help you stay connected to your center instead of getting swept away by the momentum of busyness and worry. Evening practices are just as important as morning ones for living in daily trust. Before you go to sleep, take time to acknowledge what went well during the day. Notice any moments when you felt supported, guided, or provided for. Appreciate yourself for any times when you chose trust over fear, even if it was just for a few minutes. This practice trains your mind to look for evidence of support and provision, which makes you more likely to recognize and receive even more support. You can also use your evening time to release any worries or concerns from the day. Imagine placing all your problems in the hands of the universe before you sleep, trusting that solutions and support will be provided while you rest. Many people find that insights and ideas come to them first thing in the morning or during dreams when they practice this kind of surrender before sleep. Living in daily trust also means being willing to ask for help when you need it, both from the universe and from other people. Many of us were taught that asking for help is a sign of weakness, but actually it's a sign of wisdom and trust. When you ask for help, you're acknowledging that you don't have to handle everything alone. You're opening yourself to receive support in human form as well as universal form. Practice asking for help in small ways throughout your day. Ask the universe to help you find a parking space, to guide you to the perfect gift for a friend, to provide clear communication in a difficult conversation. Ask other people for directions, recommendations, or assistance with tasks that feel overwhelming. Notice how it feels to receive help gracefully without needing to immediately reciprocate or prove that you deserve the support. Building a support system of people who believe in abundance and trust can make living these principles much easier. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, who celebrate your successes, and who remind you of your worth when you forget. Limit time with people who constantly complain, who focus on problems without looking for solutions, or who try to convince you that life is supposed to be a struggle. The energy of the people you spend time with has a significant impact on your ability to maintain a trusting, abundant mindset. Most importantly, be patient and gentle with yourself as you learn to live in daily trust. There will be days when you forget everything you've learned and find yourself back in old patterns of worry and control. This is normal and expected. Healing isn't linear, and growth happens in spirals rather than straight lines. What matters is that you keep coming back to practices that support your highest good. What matters is that you treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a beloved friend who is learning something new and challenging. Now, as we come to this beautiful place in our journey together, I want you to feel the significance of what you've been exploring today. You didn't arrive here by accident. Your soul guided you here because you're ready for a new way of living. You're ready to stop struggling so hard and start allowing life to support you. You're ready to discover what it feels like to be held by forces greater than your individual will, to be guided by wisdom deeper than your thinking mind, to be provided for by an intelligence that knows your needs before you even voice them. This is your beautiful new beginning. Not tomorrow, not when you get your life perfectly together, not when you've healed all your issues or figured out all the answers. Right now, in this moment, with exactly where you are and exactly what you have, you can begin to live as someone who is deeply trusted, completely supported, and infinitely loved by life itself. You can begin to make choices from faith instead of fear. You can begin to receive the abundance that has always been flowing toward you, but that you might have been too frightened or too busy to notice. Your new beginning doesn't require you to have perfect faith or unwavering trust. It just requires your willingness to try, your willingness to experiment with trusting a little more than feels completely comfortable, your willingness to stay open to possibilities you haven't considered, your willingness to believe that maybe, just maybe, you are more loved and supported than you've allowed yourself to know. This new beginning includes all of you, your fears and your faith, your doubts and your dreams, your past struggles and your future possibilities. You don't have to leave any part of yourself behind to step into greater abundance. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of support. You don't have to have it all figured out to take the next step forward. You just have to be willing to grow, willing to heal, willing to open your heart to receive what life wants to give you. As you move forward from here, remember that every moment offers you a choice. Every situation gives you an opportunity to practice choosing trust over fear, abundance over scarcity, love over judgment. Some moments you'll choose consciously and deliberately. Other moments you'll choose automatically based on old patterns, and then you'll catch yourself and choose again. Both are part of the process. Both are necessary for your growth. Your new beginning might look like finally pursuing that dream you've been putting off because you weren't sure how it would work out financially. It might look like having that conversation you've been avoiding because you weren't sure you could handle the outcome. It might look like making that investment in yourself that feels scary but exciting. It might look like saying no to opportunities that don't align with your values, even when you're not sure what better opportunities are coming. Trust that as you align yourself with these principles, as you practice these tools, as you open yourself to receive in new ways, your outer life will begin to reflect the inner shifts you're making. You might notice that money starts flowing more easily. You might find that opportunities appear just when you need them. You might discover that solutions to old problems suddenly become obvious. You might experience synchronicities that feel like the universe is winking at you, letting you know you're on the right track. But remember that the greatest abundance isn't in what you have, but in how you feel. The greatest wealth isn't in your bank account, but in your sense of peace, joy, and connection to life itself. The greatest security isn't in what you can control, but in your trust that you are held and guided by forces that love you unconditionally and want you to thrive beyond your wildest dreams. You are beginning a new chapter of your life story, one where you are the beloved protagonist who discovers that the universe has been conspiring in your favor all along. You are writing a story where challenges become opportunities for growth, where setbacks become setups for comebacks, where every ending is actually a new beginning in disguise. You are creating a life where abundance is your natural state, where trust is your default mode, where receiving good things feels as natural as breathing. The universe has been waiting for you to remember who you really are, not someone who has to earn love and support through struggle and sacrifice, but someone who is worthy of all good things simply because you exist. Someone who is here to thrive, not just survive. Someone who is meant to be an expression of the abundance, creativity, and love that flows through all of life. Take a deep breath now and feel into this truth. Feel how it lands in your body to consider that you are deeply loved, completely supported, and worthy of all the abundance life has to offer. Feel the relief of knowing that you don't have to figure everything out yourself. Feel the excitement of knowing that your greatest adventures are still ahead of you. Feel the peace of knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, growing exactly as you need to grow. And so, my beautiful friend, as we close this time together, I want to leave you with this knowing: you are never alone. You are always supported. You are forever loved. The same force that created galaxies and grows roses from tiny seeds is working in your life right now, orchestrating events in your favor, providing for your needs, and guiding you toward your highest good. Trust this force. Trust yourself. Trust the journey. Your abundant life is not a destination you will someday reach. It is a way of being you can choose right now. Your trusting heart is not something you will develop in the future. It is something you can nurture today. Your connection to universal provision is not something you need to earn. It is something you can remember and reclaim in this very moment. Welcome to your beautiful new beginning. Welcome to a life of trust, abundance, and infinite possibility. The universe is ready to provide all you need. Are you ready to receive it? I believe you are. I trust that you are. And I know that your willingness to trust, even imperfectly, even tentatively, is all the universe needs to begin showering you with blessings beyond your wildest imagination. Trust the universe, darling one. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Your abundant life is already on its way to you.